So that really needs to put you in the perspective of, oh, okay, it's not just going to take 3 months of eating gut-loving foods and taking a probiotic for my issues to go away, especially when we're dealing with something like perioral dermatitis. This can take months and months and months and even years. We've had clients who've been dealing with PD and it's taken them, 12 months, year and a half, 2 years to get this under control because it's so systemic and because there's so many factors going on here. So let's first start with the, diet and gut health and SIBO. We already talked about those triggers, right? The pro-inflammatory foods. Remember, inflammation equals redness, inflammation equals acne, which equals perioral dermatitis. So we want to be reducing the inflammation at all costs. Welcome to the Clear Skin Chronicles, the podcast that takes you on a journey to uncover the secrets of achieving glowing, acne-free skin. We believe that knowledge is power, and by understanding the root causes of your acne, we can create a solid foundation for long-lasting clear skin. I'm Katie Stewart, registered holistic nutritionist and founder of the Clear Skin Solution, where we help women just like you get to the root cause of their acne.
And I'm Chris Brown, registered holistic nutritionist and program director in the Clear Skin Solution. Through functional testing, we pinpoint where the body system imbalances lie so we can dive deep into your acne clearing journey.
We work virtually with clients to clear up their skin from the inside out and have helped thousands of women worldwide regain their confidence. Here at the Clear Skin Chronicles, Chris and I are all about acne. We do this day in and day out with our clients over in the Clear Skin Solution. See how we did that? The Clear Skin Solution, a program, the Clear Skin Chronicles. Anyways, just sidebar. But one other skin issue we do see quite often, because it's not just acne that we deal with in the Clear Skin Solution. Like that is, of course, our main, but oftentimes we'll either have clients say, hey, I have acne, but I also have this. Or we'll have clients come in saying, I don't have acne, but I have this. Can you still help me? Absolutely. So one common skin issue we see in conjunction with regular acne is something called perioral dermatitis. And if you're listening with this, you may most likely be very familiar with it. Maybe you're struggling with it yourself because it is not fun to be dealing with, right, Chris? Like we have clients coming in with perioral dermatitis all of the time. It can be painful. It's dry and itchy and raw and inflamed. And it's quite a difficult one to dig into because there's a lot of things that need to be addressed. Wouldn't you say?
Heck yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say, not only do we do acne every day, I think my dreams are about acne. I think everything is acne. So
acne. That's all
it is. So when we see what's the difference between this and acne? It's still skin erosion.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is so many skin issues, whether it's eczema, it's perioral dermatitis, it's acne, it's chronic rashes, even psoriasis, like these topical skin issues are always windows into the body. Mm-hmm. They're saying, hey, something is off in here. It needs your attention. You can clearly see it. So let's get this addressed. And with perioral dermatitis, we're really looking at this being small, red, pus-filled bumps. And again, we don't want you to self-diagnose, so you can go to your doctor. You can make sure that they, yes, do diagnose you with a perioral dermatitis, so that way we know what we're working with here. So, Chris,
and we are not diagnosing because we don't treat, diagnose, medical disclaimer, blah blah.
Highlight, exclamation mark, do.
Yeah,
so, Chris,
I want like sound effects.
I know, like they have on the radio,
mm-hmm.
or like I want like the DJ Khaled, like do. Do you know who DJ Khaled is?
Yeah, of course you would.
I love a little DJ Khaled. Okay, so back to perioral dermatitis. I digress. I got excited. I'm a big music fan. So, Chris, what would you say would be the really big symptoms that you see clients coming in when they are dealing with PD? And when we say PD, we mean perioral dermatitis.
Well, we're definitely looking at, for sure, not just the skin erosions, digestive. Here's something that goes underlying, and let me just know, of course, send Katie the message. Let me know if you have frequent cold and flus, or you know what, you're even talking over the phone and you're like, oh, well, now I've got that, right? Or you feel constantly down, or your body feels drained. So this goes beyond our regular digestive, issues that of course we talk about all the time inside this podcast, inside the program with clients daily. Not only we can see bowel, but really what we're looking at is inflammatory reactions.
Yeah, because when you're dealing with perioral dermatitis, go Google photos. It can be very distinct. It is very inflamed, very red, very angry, raw, irritated. Kind of, it like stems out from underneath the nose, wraps around the lips, and kind of goes under the chin. You can be getting it going a little bit higher up, but that classic PD, you will kind of be seeing it in that mustache, down the goatee area, and around the chin. And like I said, it is raw, it is inflamed. So just think inflammation.
Not a fan. So this is a hot topic for me. This is like birth control for you.
Okay, so again, I'm gonna go. Can I make another matcha? Because I'm running low over here.
No, there's no need to kill yourself.
What do you mean? I love a good 2 matcha day. I love a good 2 matcha day.
Not with me. So here's the thing. I'm going to really condense this because this is like your birth control topic.
Oh, that's a big one for me.
Why the heck are we going after the surface when this is an inner? Like clearly, anything. If you have a belly button and it sticks out, you don't go, oh, I have an innie, or I think I could have an innie. Why the heck do we think that PD is absolutely anything more than something on the inside? Let me step it back here for a second because it's about to start. Okay, I feel my heart increasing. So as we start to get the redness around what's going to be between the nose and the upper lip, it's going to be the sides of the mouth and then down onto the chin. That's where it loves to hang the best.
Loves.
Right? And of course, it's on our face. So we're extra excited about this now.
Yeah.
We have to wear it every single day. So the first thing is let's get it done. We go to the derm and the derm goes, oh, here, take this. Why I'm so hot and heavy over this is because I often see off labels. And you know how I feel about off-label medication.
I do know how you
Katie.
Feel about it. I know how you feel about it. Don't bring it up, anybody. Don't
I am
bring
not
it
a fan
up
of medication unless it's 110% needed for life. Right? I'm not opposed to it, but it needs to be for life. I often see it given out way too long. Please, you want shits and giggles? This is what happens. I say those bad words when I talk about PD. But please go on the internet and go search how many deaths for prescribing, say, antibiotics every year. This is why I get upset, right? Because it's so preventative, and we have such trust in our system, and it just really fails us. And these women that get to us, Katie, they have been through the ringer. They're on their last string. They have, 3% left of any confidence left.
It's so sad because it's exactly that. Is no matter what the skin condition is, whether it's eczema, it's perioral dermatitis, it's acne, it's what acne rosacea, it's so impactful to a person's self-confidence, self-esteem, self-image, that it impacts every area of their life. Like their confidence in their work is gone. Their confidence in their relationship is gone. They don't want to be intimate relationships. Maybe they don't want to date. They aren't parenting as well because they're so self-conscious, and their kids make comments, especially if you have little ones or maybe mean teenagers, and you're constantly thinking about it. And it's just this it's almost like a wet blanket that you put over your whole life when you're dealing with skin conditions, because it's something people see. Like, we like to say, don't judge the book by the cover, but it is undeniable that we live in a very visual world. And the first thing people see when they look at you is your face and your skin. So no wonder people are feeling so bad about themselves. And that's really, I'm so off tangent on this, but that's why I developed the Clear Skin Solution, because I knew what it felt like to not have confidence and to not feel pretty and to not feel good about myself, and how it was impacting my life. On the outside, it looks like we're in the acne business. We're not in the acne business. We're in the confidence building business.
Exactly. And a diagnosis of PD is by appearance. By appearance. So I get it. We've had enough of the population have something similar that we have enough check boxes. It's like ADHD, right? Enough check. It's like depression. You have enough of the population to say this validates because we have those check boxes. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Please, I'm not going there. But how it's distinguished from acne by the absence of the condoms. So, we're not having the pustules from rosacea, right? So we're not getting the lesions around the eyes and the mouth. There's different types of sebum that shouldn't be there. All of these different things. At the end of the day, in order to truly be diagnosed, it's with biopsy. How many people are listening who suffer with perioral dermatitis have had a biopsy?
I'm going to say not many.
Not many, right? Because it's not bad enough. It can be treated with a topical. Oh, let me tell you about those topicals. I'm not even sure if I'm going in any rhyme or reason because, again, I'm just trying to get my blood pressure down. So this is how this goes. So when I say blood pressure and stuff like this, here's the thing. Again, not only are we looking at that confidence building and boosting, it's the mindset, right? It's the, I went to the doctor and I've been diagnosed. Did you get a biopsy? And then I mean, as much as I love bubble popping your world, Katie, because it's kind of fun now.
Why do you like to bubble pop my world?
Because it's fun. It's just like a little game, right? Obviously, because you're good nature and you take it, and we banter back and forth.
All right.
But the difference with clients is they don't have much left. Like their heart is open and it's exposed and it's saying, please, Chris, please, coaches, please, Clear Skin, please just help me understand. I don't know why. Because what happens is when they get treated for perioral dermatitis, I don't even have clients get told avoid fluorinated dental products.
Absolutely. Fluoride in dental products and toothpaste is a big one to be watching out for when you have PD.
What about tap water? Hey, what did your dermatologist say about your toothpaste or your water? And they're like, what do you mean? See, I don't go in and I say, hey, did they talk to you about this and this and this? Because I don't want clients going down that rabbit hole in searching things and going, oh, I want to know what they've been told, because then it helps me form our education towards them, because it's never about what they didn't know. It's only about how we can educate them to make those best decisions going forward. Right? Sustainability. Topical corticosteroids. They're not supposed to be used. How many people are on steroids?
Oh my gosh, the topical steroids for the PD. That's a big. I almost wish our esthetician Ashley was here for this one, because she would be like, hard no.
Oh, she'd be giving me a hard elbow and kicking me out of the hot seat.
She'd be like, let me take this over. Because
that's too calm.
Because that's why we have Ashley, right? It is, and aesthetics is outside Chris and I scope of practice. Like I know quite a bit about skincare, and I'm also not a trained expert like Ashley. So that's why we have Ashley in the Clear Skin Solution. So when clients come in, they get a skincare consult with her. So we're able to really make sure they're using the right products, because when it comes to perioral dermatitis, you have to be treating it a little bit differently than if you're dealing with just the traditional acne. So Chris, some things I want to go through is we'll finish up talking about what the, the traditional Western medical treatment is and the commons we see with our clients. And then I want to be talking about really nutrition's role in, handling PD. I want to talk about, of course, gut health, SIBO, of course, stress hormones. This is a big episode. We got a lot to cover. Stress hormones. And then we're going to be finishing it up with some skincare ingredients to watch out for, and some skincare ingredients that you want to have in your products when you're dealing with perioral dermatitis. And what's interesting is perioral means around the mouth. So that's why you get that classic around the mouth, rash light look with perioral dermatitis. So Chris, you already went into it. Is some of the topicals we really do see is Elidel is a really, really popular one. Elidel is used because it's reducing that inflammation, because it is a lot of inflammation in the skin. It is red equals inflammation. We'll also see a lot of use of oral antibiotics, topical antibiotics. which we have strong feelings about, but we will just share the things about the medicated prescriptions that you traditionally get. Because when we're looking at the antibiotics, of course, antibiotics are used to go after a bacteria. Well, when we're looking at the gut health and SIBO component to perioral dermatitis, we know that antibiotics are just going to be making that worse in the long run. It'll help while you're on them, but what happens when you come off of this? Because we've had so many PD clients that have taken years of topical and oral antibiotics. They come off them and their skin just loses it, because one of the issues that was causing their perioral or worsening their perioral was the gut component, was the SIBO that they're dealing with. Yet they're just putting all of these antibiotics in that are making that issue worse. And then, like Chris already mentioned, please do not use topical steroids if you're dealing with perioral dermatitis. That is not going to do you any favors. So outside of that, let's kind of now dig into the holistic approach that you can take to going after perioral dermatitis. So the first one we want to be looking at, of course, is going to be nutrition. So remember, perioral dermatitis, inflammation. We want to be doing things to counteract the inflammation in the body. So we really want to be looking out for those pro-inflammatory foods. Go back and listen to the podcast we did on anti-inflammatory if you want like a really big deep dive into it. But of course, watching those pro-inflammatory foods like the refined sugar, the processed foods, the refined vegetable oils, the conventional dairy, the gluten-laden things. These are all things that are going to be making PD so much worse. In conjunction, we also want to be looking after those really, the triggers for PD as well. Things like spicy foods, the caffeinated beverages, alcoholic beverages, and really acidic foods, unhealthy fat, like foods high in unhealthy fats. These will also be big triggers for PD.
I have another one, not food related.
What is it?
Ready for the hate mail?
Come on, man. I don't want more hate.
Come
on. What is it?
Invisalign.
Oh, yeah. I don't want the hate mail on that. Share the words. Say the words. Tell them why.
Invisalign is basically this plastic. And what happens is we should, through proper hygiene, be brushing it like our teeth. However, that abrasion creates a little porous scrapes in it. And the bacteria goes and sits in there. And then people put it into their mouth. And lo and behold, and it's all concentrated. So I need to step back for a second because I need to do this I know it's there, but I just got to put it out there. Please remember that this is, again, an immune response. So as we're going to go into, you said you want to talk about the SIBO and the gut health and everything like that.
Of course.
This external is internal.
External symptom, internal issue.
Everyone. Do you want me to put money on it? That's Chris, how committed.
Are you a betting woman today?
Listen, I don't even like to spend money, Katie.
Chris is the frugal one.
I'm going to be buried with my money. Just because it needs to come with me. I worked too hard for it.
if you go first, I'm going to have to dig you up.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't tell people that. Cremated.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Sorry, suckers. But when we use these topicals, and one of them is topical spironolactone that they use, right? Now we're adjusting hormones. We're using the Idel as an example. That is an off-label. That's not even for it. It's an immunosuppressant. So the immune system comes to the system. It makes it glaring red. It says, help me. I need some love, because around the mouth is all gut related. Okay. Sure, it has pelvic implications, but where is your pelvic area? All in the lower region, especially adrenal, stress-like response. All of this perpetuates the same thing. So now we're putting an immunosuppressant on to get rid of the redness, but now we've just said to our T cells, nope, you don't need to work. Now we don't have our soldiers going to that area. So again, Katie, when people come off of it, their face now implodes because the body has no idea what to do with it. Right? So I just wanted to make that very clear, because as we go through all of these wonderful things, it's also external factors, right? Yeah, okay, fine. It could be fluorine a fluorine. That's not a thing, is it? Could be now.
Fluoride is what you're
I
trying to go
think
for.
fluorine is kind of like fluorescent fluoride. You think I could market it?
Fluorine's its own thing altogether. We're talking
Dang it.
fluoride.
All right. So then that brings us into the gut health. And I know you love gut and you love food together because I don't know, I think you may have created a program for that.
I did. And I like, for me, my gut is my weak spot in my body. From the years of abuse I gave to it. Like, that's the
You're
thing
also
is
celiac, so
I'm also
please give
celiac.
yourself
I
a
know.
little bit.
But even, I'm 34 and I've dealt with stomach issues since I was a child. And even as a nutritionist who lives, sleeps, eats, and breathes this every single day, I still struggle with gut issues because of the decades of damage that I've done. And I've really only been like working hard on my gut health in the last like 7 to 10 years. I would say maybe about 10 years. And even after 10 years, it's taken me that long to see these big improvements. So never think like, oh my gosh, my gut's going to be healed in 3 months. Most likely not. I can almost guarantee it. You have to remember that the state of your health, where you are right now with your health, is an accumulation of everything that's happened to you from conception up until now. So that really needs to put you in the perspective of, oh, okay, it's not just going to take 3 months of eating gut loving foods and taking a probiotic for my issues to go away, especially when we're dealing with something like perioral dermatitis. This can take months and months and months and even years. We've had clients who've been dealing with PD and it's taken them, 12 months, year and a half, 2 years to get this under control because it's so systemic and because there's so many factors going on here. So let's first start with the, diet and gut health and SIBO. We already talked about those triggers, right? The pro-inflammatory foods. Remember, inflammation equals redness, inflammation equals acne, which equals perioral dermatitis. So we want to be reducing the inflammation at all costs. We're going to be starting this with the foods that we're eating. So removing those triggers, like we talked about, the refined sugar, the refined vegetable oils, those rancid omega-6 fatty acids you'll get in the refined vegetable oils, the conventional dairy, the gluten, the processed foods. You're like, Katie, stop talking. Stop it right now because you're taking all of my fun away.
I'm just thinking kid birthday party.
Kid birthday party.
You do not eat at a kid's birthday party.
You do not eat at a kid's birthday party. The end. Unless you come to my kid's birthday party, because that's a totally different ball game.
Yeah, we're in.
Yeah, then you're in. So we want to be, again, anytime that we're removing, we need to be replacing. Because when you start eating healthy, the biggest thing that we see that happens is you go into a caloric deficit because you just don't put any foods back in. So remember, just because you're not eating this pro-inflammatory foods doesn't mean there's no foods left, because how would Chris and I still be alive? Where you need to be replenishing with those nutrient dense foods, the proteins, whether you're, animal based, so you're looking at the poultry, you're looking at the wild game, the grass fed beef, the pasture raised eggs, the wild sustainable fish, like the cold water fatty fish. Those are the foods we want to be really, really embracing. And if you're a plant-based eater, maybe you're looking at the lentils, the legumes, the nuts, the seeds, the quinoas, the things like that. And then you're getting a rich plethora of a rainbow of food. So you're getting the red, the orange, yellow, the green, the blue, the purple, all of the different colors under the sun, because they're going to be offering you so much anti-inflammatory nutrition and so much antioxidants. And, antioxidants are great because they're fighting the oxidative stress, which leads to disease and aging. So we want to be eating all of these wonderful foods to be nourishing our bodies from the ground up. This really needs to be that foundation before you start doing all of the gut protocols and the SIBOs and the this, because if you don't have that foundation in place, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to jump right into like a therapeutic gut style protocol. So now that we have that nutrition in place, we now need to be looking at the gut health. Now, if you're not familiar with it, there is something called the gut skin axis. You might hear, the gut brain skin axis, the gut brain axis. They're all kind of talking about the same thing. Well, when we're looking at the gut brain skin axis, this is a theory that has since been proven that the health of the brain, the gut, and the skin all interact and connect. So if you're someone that's really struggling with your mental health, it's actually going to alter your microbiome. That alteration in your microbiome is going to be impacting your skin and inflaming your body, which is going to lead to skin inflammation. But remember, another way is your thoughts can also be impacting your skin. And I like to explain this like when you get, a little embarrassed and your skin flushes, right? That is the gut brain skin axis at work. Or when you're nervous and you get butterflies in your tummy, that is the gut brain skin axis at work, all speaking and talking to each other. So when we're dealing with topical skin issues, whether it's PD or anything, we have to be looking at the health of the gut. And if we go a little bit further, Chris, something that we see so prevalent with those suffering with PD is SIBO. And SIBO stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Essentially, bacteria has moved into places in the digestive tract where it shouldn't be. And this is causing systemic inflammation, which is worsening skin conditions and possibly leading to perioral dermatitis. Is there anything you wanted to add there, Chris?
I'm still catching up on the first part. Like, you were on a roll. I did not want to break that.
I know. But SIBO is something we do see quite prevalently. And, if you're dealing with SIBO, maybe you're dealing with bloat, maybe you're dealing with bowel issues. There's so many things that you can be
even
looking
GERD,
at.
right? It goes up. So that's something we're definitely going to get by the time we have hormone imbalances like crazy at this point, for sure. So now you have a cascade of everything. And it's like, where's the low hanging fruit? Where do we get in? What do we do? Here's a cool fact. You had SIBO. There are way more things that are ahead of it, actually, right? It's a staircase. So you don't get to floor 8 by not doing every single individual stair. So this is the compounded effect of SIBO. And you better believe SIBO is like, we're in a high rise. We're hitting the 14s, we're hitting the 15s, we're hitting the 16s. And your symptoms are getting worse and less manageable. The fear of coming off of these topicals is unsuppressive. Like, it is like most prevalent thing, because you are so bound to that skin looking good. So, hey, what if we use a little bit of this with a little bit of that? It's not about just one way or the other. The other thing, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you wanted to dig more into SIBO, Chris and I did a whole podcast earlier in this season. I believe it's episode 6 that we did this year. So if you want to dig more into SIBO, you're like, maybe this is what I'm dealing with, go back and listen, because SIBO can have a whole slew of symptoms. Like we mentioned, there could be the bloating, the abdominal distension, maybe you have diarrhea, even constipation, stomach pain. You'll be having gas about 45 to 60 minutes after eating, food intolerances as well, cravings, vitamin and nutrient deficiencies. So this we see very, very prevalent alongside perioral dermatitis.
But remember that thing I always say: stress, inflammation, signs and symptoms, blah, 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 blah.
Say that again a little bit slower. It's like you're on the super fast forward mode, Chris.
Stress equals inflammation. Inflammation equals signs and symptoms. Signs and symptoms equals disease, disorder, and illness. So which means is by the time we get to each of these levels, we're going to have something bigger, badder, more predominant. And then we could be into autoimmunes and all the ugly things, right?
Yep. So
go ahead. What most people don't, just going back to that staircase analogy, is you have SIBO. I consider that disorder. We're that far advanced. We could even have an autoimmune. We don't even know about it, right? Katie and I will never claim we know your root cause. We
sometimes you can actually find it, but you can work towards it, right? We know with acne, there's gut, there's liver, there's hormone implications, but you have to remember, under each one of those umbrellas is a dozen different things that could be going on. So of course there's sometimes when you can absolutely nail it. Yep, root cause right in there. But oftentimes you may not be able to, pinpoint this is the root cause, but the things that you're doing are the things that you're doing actually end up resolving your root cause no matter what, right? Because it's in that area of these are the steps that need to be taken, and then it resolves. Did I explain that okay? Because my brain went on a wave there.
Right. So let me decode the Katie.
Please, thank you.
Using that analogy. what Katie's saying is, as we start reducing those stressors,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's the toothpaste and the shampoos and those external, right? So we have endotoxins that will cause issues inside the body, outside the body, whatever, anything that comes in contact with us.
Endocrine disruptors, external stressors,
oh,
pollution, like
gosh.
there's so many things, but
Listen,
because we're taking
yeah.
this steps of, okay, these are the foods we're eating, we're going to be reducing your exposure to endocrine disruptors, we're going to be flushing the body, we're going to be looking out for heavy metals, we're going to be doing this. These are all steps that are going to be so beneficial to what's really at that deep core root cause.
And this is why we have pillars inside the Clear Skin Solution, because these pillars help us identify, they help us isolate, they help us look at the stressors. If you do not calm the body down first, where the heck are you going? Because everything in an inflammatory response is going to perpetuate more symptoms, right? So we have to calm that body down. That's first step. So let's go back to stress. So yeah, as we start to isolate and identify all these stressors, guess what? We still have to go back to this disease, disorder, and illness and work back on the staircase as we're trying to isolate those stressors. Well, that's a big cluster of, what do you call it? Like a ball of yarn, to be PG.
A ball of yarn, all right? Because it's something, and it's something we talk about. I don't think we've gone an episode without talking about the impacts of chronic stress on the skin, on the health issues. It is so, I don't, I feel like I said, we talk about it every episode because it's so important, yet everybody brushes it under the rug. They're like, yeah, no, that's fine, But we have to be looking at the implications of chronic stress when we're dealing with skin issues, right? We need to be also be looking at the hormones when we're dealing with these skin issues. So when we're looking at perioral dermatitis, we have to remember that chronic stress is going to be worsening this condition 100%. Again, this is the gut, brain, skin axis. The stress is going to be causing, impairing your immune function. It's going to be worsening the inflammatory conditions, which perioral dermatitis happens to be. So this is why we need crucial, critical, underline, highlight, asterisks, throw a GIF in there. I don't care. You need to be dealing with your stress.
Did you get that?
Need.
The word need.
And your stress reduction is going to look different for every single person. Maybe you love meditation. Maybe you can't do it. So maybe you're going to look at tapping, the emotional freedom technique. Maybe it's getting out in nature. Maybe it's petting your dog. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's having a bath. Maybe it's doing breath work.
Maybe, Katie, here's one. Maybe it's asking for help.
Chris, asking for help. I feel like you're
I am.
I feel like
I hope you felt that.
I did feel it. I know she was singling me out on that one.
I'm totally singling. Katie is this little force, as a side disclaimer here, is this little force that absolutely will take on the world's problems. She is kind to her team, sees the load that her team has. And as much as, you will never see the inner workings, that's probably good, because then you'd be like, oh, they're a bunch of crazy little girls.
We are we're a bunch of crazies, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're happy crazies, right? I love it. So what I'm saying is, Katie likes to take the weight of her team's pressures. So then now we have to have secret meetings because we don't want to tell Katie, because no, I'm just
texting my husband.
I'm texting your husband. Is she okay? No, but this is what I'm saying. So if you have that type of personality, asking for help isn't going to be okay. So you know what? Then you have to chunk it down. And you know what, Katie, you and I did it earlier.
We did.
We do what we ask you to do. Okay.
Absolutely.
This is it. We see the pressures. And how many butts did you throw at me? How many butts?
I don't know. I lost count. But that's the thing is, even though Chris and I are, sharing these tactics with you, these are things we do ourselves.
Yep.
Because we would be hypocrites if we said that, we didn't deal with stress. Chris and I both deal with lots of stress. We're moms. We're running an online company.
You could just stop right there for me.
Yeah, we're moms. Yeah. Chris is a mom of 3 teenage girls. I have 2 little boys. And we're also working moms. So we have stress just like everybody listening. Don't think that we're immune to the stressors because we have it all, figured out, put together, because we don't. Chronic stress is probably the number one thing I struggle with most in my life is the chronic stress. So.
Listen, we get holes in our socks too. Like that's just the way it is. We're people. The difference is the why I'm actually bringing this up because it's so pivotal to
Mm-hmm.
that SIBO, to that perioral dermatitis, to the acne, to the everything. And of course, we talk stress because if you've been hanging with Katie and I by now, and you're not doing any kind of stress management, you are not doing yourself service
Mm-hmm.
at all. So find something, even if it's singing your heart out in the shower. I don't care. The thing is chunk it down.
So I think, we've kind of beat it to death a little bit. It's the chronic stress. Make sure you're implementing it. We know the things to do. So just find one or two things that you can easily do, whether it's,
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes of breath work when you're in the car or brushing your teeth or words of affirmation, whatever it may be. Really get those in and remember to be kind to yourself because we so often bully ourselves every single day. We look in the mirror, we're like, oh my gosh, look at your skin. It's so bad today. You're ugly. You don't know what you're doing. This is never going to clear. And I really want you to catch yourself in that moment when you're thinking those thoughts and think, would I ever say this to my child? Would I say, if you don't have kids, would I say this to my niece or my student or a kindergartner? Of course you wouldn't, because that is so mean to say. So why are you saying it to yourself? So
Mm-hmm.
really, we need to practice grace and kindness with yourself and start speaking to yourself with kindness because we need to be hearing that. We can't be bullying ourselves every single day. So I want to
Yeah,
quickly, oh, go ahead.
because it's not failure. And again, sorry, it's because I just haven't hit this one point and I need to get to this. So all of these stress, they're going to put pressure on our mucosal barrier, right? We have a
Mm-hmm.
secretory IgA, so we call it SIGA, and that's in the gut. It is your most lavish immune system. So by the time you get SIBO, listen, we got work way down here, right? By the time you have perioral dermatitis, you've already had some kind of repression of that immune system inside the body. We have to really support it. That's why we go after digestion because we can't be super stressed. That's why when you put an immunosuppressant on your face, it looks better because it's bringing all that trauma to your face. We don't want to repress it. We want to dive in and get into it. So
Mm-hmm.
just remember, we're working on all of that as you're working on the stress, learning the core foundations of what we're teaching you, and of course, applying it. Like, what a concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a sustainable model. So I know you love to always add in like a skin portion, like
As I
whether
do.
it's products.
Well,
I know
before we
I'm
get
not.
into skin, I just want to quickly do a refresher. So remember on the nutrition side, focus on anti-inflammatory foods. That's what I want you to focus on. Lots of omega-3 rich foods, like your salmon, your flax seeds, your walnuts,
Mhm.
because the anti-inflammatory foods, the omega foods are going to really help us start reducing that inflammation. Eat lots of
Mhm.
antioxidant foods. So these are a plethora of colors, and really cutting down. Like you need to just avoid sugar and alcohol for like just goodbye. It's got to go. So this is, some tips to start doing. Remember, it's not about waking up tomorrow and doing all of these things. One many small steps make for one massive leap. So we will in the show notes, we will share the blog we have on the best diet for acne is the word I was trying to say. It also works for PD. And go back and listen to our previous episode, The Impacts of Diet on Skin, which is earlier in the season. And I cannot remember. Oh, it's episode 3 of the season. Episode 3 was The Impact of Diet on Acne. Okay, so let's now dig into that skin care component because this is really critical when you're dealing with something so inflammatory as PD. So the one thing that we already talked about is we need to steer clear of the irritants,
Mhm.
avoid the steroids, and we need to limit the fluoride exposure in the SLS. So if you have toothpaste, we need to be looking if there's fluoride and SLS in it because that can be really irritating. And really any product that you're applying to your skin that has SLS needs to go. We really need to simplify. Less is more when we're dealing with PD. Very,
Yes.
mild. Fragrance free is key. No fragrances. Fragrances are not your friend. Fragrances are going to be irritating the crap out of your skin. So if it says fragrance or parfum on the back, nope, can't be using it because it is going to really, really irritate. We of course need to
Yeah.
be avoiding any harsh scrubs or exfoliants. So the physical exfoliants with the scrubbies in it, not going to be your friend. The AHAs and BHAs, those acids most likely won't be your friend either. We can't be using the vitamin A or the retinols, the vitamin C. The active ingredients are going to be so inflaming to your skin. So we want to be looking at fragrance-free products, which includes makeup. So your skincare and your makeup need to be fragrance-free. And some of the other ingredients, so we talked about the fragrance, the harsh cleansers, the physical exfoliants, alcohol-based. Alcohol is going to really, really irritate it. We talked about the retinols, the sulfates, like the SLSs. Heavy makeup is going to be really, really not fun for your skin. So those thick oil-based foundations, the PD is not going to love that.
Yeah.
And then we also need to be looking at the parabens. So, excuse me, the methyl parabens, the polyparabens. So we really need to be looking at those parabens, the methyl parabens, the polyparabens, and even certain preservatives. These are really going to be irritating your skin. So you have to be really good at starting to read the label. And instead, we want to be looking for skincare ingredients that are like the hyaluronic acids, because this is really going to help with the dehydration. And just because it says the word acid doesn't mean it's an acid like that, but a hyaluronic acid, a niacinamide, because the niacinamide is going to be so grateful for soothing that irritated skin because of that inflammation. Probiotics in the formulations will be great because this is going to be helping fight that bad bacteria, really promote a healthier microbiome on your skin. We want to be looking at things like jojoba seed oil. This has a lot of incredible moisturizing properties. Things like aloe vera, very calming, very skin repairing. Things like arnica. Arnica is such a lovely, nourishing, soothing ingredient because it's boosting circulation. It's going to be reducing that redness as well. We also want to be looking at ceramides. And ceramides are something that our esthetician Ashley talks about all the time. I don't think we've had an episode on this podcast about skincare where she doesn't talk about ceramides, because they are so essential for maintaining your skin's barrier. And they're going to be helping protect against those environmental irritants, really helping prevent the moisture loss and keeping your skin hydrated and less susceptible to flare ups. So ceramides is another really great one to work with. And if you are dealing with PD, I highly encourage you find a really great esthetician. Again, that's why we have Ashley, who is knowledgeable in PD, that can really help you find the right ingredients, who can work alongside you to help be that ingredient detective to make sure what you're putting on your skin isn't worsening it, but really helping, really hydrating, really nourishing, and really soothing. So those are some things that you definitely want to be looking at. And then we
Caution
also...
with calendula cream.
Mhm.
Even though it's a beautiful herb and it has many properties, it can also exasperate. And if it does exasperate, that is it's usually, I'm going to go err on the side of
Mhm.
caution. Usually we do have an immune like response going on.
Mhm. So yeah, this is where you do need to be a little bit of a detective to really make sure that you're getting those skincare products and ingredients. Less is more. I'm going to say it again. Less is more. Don't overdo it. Gentle, nourishing, soothing, hydrating. This is what we really want to be focusing on. Because remember, skincare is a tool in the acne clearing toolbox. It's not the only tool, just like diet's not the only tool. We need to be having a well-versed, that's why we have the 5 acne clearing pillars that we work with in the Clear Skin Solution: your gut health, your detoxification health, your hormonal health, your skincare, and your mindset. These are the 5 pillars that need to be done together. It's not just about one pillar. You're never going to clear your skin long term if you're just focusing on one pillar. You need to do all of these pillars together in a really synergistic approach to go and really repair from the inside out. Anything else? Oh, Chris, we forgot to add your favorite thing. Your favorite thing. Water, Chris, water.
Water. Yeah. Please poop. Please use water. Please get rid of the toxins. Please support your body, right? This is how we get hydration to the skin. FYI, little Chris thing here. If you are not absorbing your water, we got bigger issues back into the gut, back into absorption, back into assimilation, right?
Let me ask the
So,
question that someone's going to ask. Chris, how do I know if I'm not absorbing my water?
well, what color are your lips? Do they match essentially, as people are watching and they see, or do they match your skin tone? Do they have underlines of purple? A lot of people will not see purple like I see purple. They're going to see maybe a little bit of a blue or a little bit of something else. Are they bright red? Is there a lot of heat in there? You know what I mean? Purple stagnation, red heat. That's how we want to look at it. So if you have lots of heat, cooling foods. If we have
Mm-hmm.
purple, warming foods and movement. So that's what we need to do. So that means your water would be warm if it's purple. Your water might be room temperature if it's red. See how I did not say with ice?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Right? So your gut's not going to like that. So that is essentially what I could offer right there. Obviously it's a bigger scope, but that's kind of a tangible. What
There we go.
about, Katie? Here's a question.
Oh.
What I like to do is sometimes when we have people present with perioral dermatitis, so meaning they get gains, we do any kind of gut work, they usually get some wicked gains. We start coming out, adding more foods. What happens? It might take a little bit of a vengeance.
Yeah, it might come back, because you have to remember with perioral dermatitis, even acne, the skin issues is it's never just about doing like one quick, okay, I'm going to do 3-month gut therapeutic SIBO, whatever protocol, and all my issues are going to be gone. Sometimes you're going to have to do this a few times throughout the year. So it's like, sure, you're going to do that first SIBO style protocol or elimination style protocol, whatever you want to do, for 3 months. Then we'll take a break. We're going to, we're going to reevaluate. We're going to look at things. We're going to see, go back to calm, anti-inflammatory. Then we'll go into another gut protocol. So you have to remember, this isn't a quick one and done. This is going to take time. It's going to take multiple steps. So don't think that, oh my gosh, 2 weeks of taking probiotic and whatever, my skin issue is going to be gone. It's going to take some time. So don't give up on yourself.
Yes. And if the symptoms exasperate after, and you have been very diligent and you're following things to the T and you've cleaned up your lifestyle, remember, that's beautiful. We're not on floor 14. We're on floor 10. Right?
And another thing that we didn't touch on before we finish up, Chris, is the types of tests that we really like our clients.
Yeah, that's where I was headed.
Oh, I was like, Chris, we forgot.
I'm loving it. So I'm like, okay, go. It's all valuable. So yeah, the testing.
The testing is big, especially with perioral dermatitis. We would love to have a client do a GI map or a stool analysis of some sort to see what's happening in that microbiome. Really be looking at, do they have a SIBO? So you could be doing like a SIBO breath test, or you could be going, and Chris, what types of blood labs do we generally recommend our clients go and request from their medical practitioner, their medical doctor?
I like to see a full liver for sure. I want to kind of see how the detoxification is going. Do we have any congestion? I also like to see, if we have American clients, a comprehensive metabolic panel. We don't have that in Canada. Unfortunately, it's so sexy. I love it. I want to see a full hormone panel. Well, why do you want to see a hormone panel, Chris? Because I want to see a full hormone panel to see what's happening inside that. Is it adrenal? Hormone is also cortisol, as an example. But just not isolated to the blood labs is food intolerance.
An IgG, yes.
Think about it. When you put food into your mouth, that's your adenoids, your tonsils. This is the very first line of defense. Why is it concentrating around the mouth? I'm not a big proponent of going in with that stool and the food intolerances right off the bat, because being in acne, we already see that trend, right? Just like I said, depression has a trend, acne has a trend. It's not about categorizing. It's saying, ooh, we have some juicy juice right here that we can get to first. But I do love to see a food intolerance and a GI map with perioral dermatitis. Those are my sexies together.
Love it. All right, everybody. So if you need a quick refresher, remember, anti-inflammatory foods, omega-3 rich foods, antioxidants, remove the pro-inflammatory triggers like the refined oils, the sugars, the processed foods, the conventional dairy. Even, you might want to give a miss to alcohol and caffeine. Really looking at the ingredients in your skincare products, the parabens, the fragrances, the SLS, the fluoride, really embracing those nourishing ingredients like the hyaluronic acid, ceramides, niacinamide. Sorry, it's been a long day of podcasting, and getting those stress reduction practices in place, looking at the health of your gut, looking at the possible SIBO in order to really get down into that issue causing the perioral dermatitis. All right. That was another fun-filled episode, Chris. Next week, we have our lovely Ashley, who we talked about several times today. She's coming in and talking about the dark side of skincare, uncovering the toxic ingredients, which is an absolute must to listen to. because this is a requirement. If you are dealing with acne, perioral dermatitis, any skin issues, you need to be extremely aware of the ingredients in your skincare and how they're impacting your hormonal health, your liver health, and just your overall health as well. So we'll see you again next Wednesday for another episode of the Clear Skin Chronicles. Thanks for hanging out with us this week on the Clear Skin Chronicles. We'll see you next Wednesday with a brand new episode. Remember to subscribe to the show and drop us a review. Sending glowing vibes your way, Katie and Chris.